Alright, so in this video, we're gonna be taking a look at the races that happened between IShowSpeed and Ashton Hall. And the crazy thing about these races was how IShowSpeed won all 4 times. It was pretty crazy, IShowSpeed would win, and then Ashton Hall would say, hey, no, we have to do a rematch, so let's do it again. And then IShowSpeed would win again, and then the same thing would keep repeating. And that, that's how IShowSpeed got 4 wins in a row. So without further ado, let's watch a clip of this that I got on TikTok from the user Mendas Gaming at Yusras Mini World 1. So let's check this out. Alright, so as you just saw right there, in all 4 races, IShowSpeed won. And in the first one, they were running and Ashton Hall ended up slipping and he fell down. And then in the second one, Ashton Hall and Speed, neither of them slipped. And both of them did finish the race, but IShowSpeed still won the second one as well. And then for the third and the fourth one, instead of running on grass, they decided to run on the road. And even then, in the third one, IShowSpeed won. And then in the fourth one, once again, Speed won again. And so yeah, overall, this was a pretty crazy thing right here, man. It was definitely really entertaining. Regardless of what the actual results of the race were, I would say, it was definitely really interesting to watch. Both of them are really fast. And it was really cool to just see them compete like this. Now people are pointing out how if you take a look at their builds, clearly IShowSpeed has a very lighter build compared to Ashton Hall. Because you just see all the muscles that Ashton Hall has, just how huge that guy is, right? Compared to Speed, who has a more lean build. And because of that, Speed ends up benefiting from the fact that he's very light compared to Ashton Hall. And so that gives him a pretty serious advantage when it comes to running like this. And so, he has that speed advantage. As his name suggests, IShowSpeed. They don't call him Speed for nothing. And when it comes to that more bulky build that Ashton Hall has, look, it's really impressive. Those muscles of his, it's crazy how much work he must have put in just to get that kind of build. But at the same time, it has its disadvantages. Sure, you have those muscles, so in terms of being able to lift weights and things like that, it really does help you out. But then the problem is that in terms of speed and agility, you have a disadvantage because of those same muscles, because of just how heavy they are. And so overall, it's going to reduce your speed. So in a situation like this, yeah, you're at a disadvantage. Although still, Ashton Hall is pretty fast considering that he has all those muscles. So given all that weight, he's still pretty fast. Although compared to Speed, in a competition like that, of course, he's not as fast as Speed. And also, speaking of Ashton Hall running, you guys might have seen those really intense clips where he's running and he has the camera crew recording him and he's straight up just going at it, just running as fast as he can, stuff like that. You might have seen those clips. So, he definitely has shown off his ability to run really fast on social media. So, it's not like he had no training related to this. He definitely did have training and, he had definitely practiced this stuff. And he was also really confident in his ability to win in this situation. And then also IShowSpeed was really confident as well, and of course it makes sense why he was, given the results that we just saw at the end. So yeah, overall I'd say that both of them did really well here. They definitely put in a lot of effort, and even though IShowSpeed did win, you could see how, with the exception of the first race where Ashton Hall fell down, in the next 3 races, you could see how he was still like pretty close to IShowSpeed, right? Like, if he was just like slightly faster, perhaps he could have won, right? Maybe with enough training or something like that, maybe he'll win. Although, again, his muscles are really like heavy and stuff, so that does like put him at a disadvantage. Like, he would have to lose those in order to become lighter and hence faster. But of course, I don't think he really ever wants to give up those muscles, right? Now, real quick, I just want to say that I'm giving out shoutouts on this channel to people who subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment, letting me know that they subscribed. If you do that, then in the next video, I'll give you a shoutout. Now, I want to give out a shoutout to someone who did this. So here's a shoutout for Mastermind the Pro. Thanks for the subscribe and the other things that you did. So I really appreciate that and it means a lot. Anyway, back to the video. Alright, so after Ashton Hall lost those 4 races against IShowSpeed, he then posted this on his Instagram. So it's pretty interesting. Let's watch this.
Damn! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We fell short, but I'm gonna keep going. Thank you, bro. Much love.
Alright, so as you just saw, Ashton Hall was not happy about IShowSpeed winning, and in the first shot you can actually see how he straight up looks at the screen and he just throws that ball at the screen and he just shatters it. And what was playing on the screen was the footage of the race with IShowSpeed. So man, he's definitely not happy. And then he gets this call from his nephew, and from what I could understand, he says that we fell short, but I'm gonna keep going. And I'm pretty sure that's in direct reference to the races. And so he's talking about how, yeah, sure, I didn't win, but I gotta keep going, I gotta keep grinding and stuff, getting better. I mean, who knows, maybe this is kind of hinting at him training more, and then maybe in the future he actually has a rematch with IShowSpeed, right? Once he's gotten better and he's more confident in his ability to win, maybe then he's gonna say, hey, you know what, IShowSpeed, I want a rematch. And another interesting detail is how when he's wearing his coat, it actually says the routine paid off, Ashton Hall. So you can actually see that in the video, that's like written on his coat. So it's referring to that morning routine, which was the thing that first made him go viral, man. Like, I still remember, like, when that first happened, man, it was crazy, dude. This guy was all over the internet. And then it showed him, going into the elevator, going downstairs. He gets into his car and, he drives over to this, like, restaurant and he orders some steak. And then with that, inside of this, like, little capsule he has, there's this thing that says secret powder. And he puts it into this glass and then he mixes it up and then he drinks it. So I have no clue, dude. What even is that? What is the secret powder? Are we gonna get this as like some item in the next update of Fortnite? I don't know, okay? I have no clue, okay? Maybe in like some of the later videos he might, actually tell us what this secret powder is. I don't know. Imagine if the secret powder is something that like helps him win against IShowSpeed. No, that would be cheating, actually. No. So yeah, I don't know. And then, he pulls out his phone and he has the alarm app open, and then you can see how he puts on some alarms. So you can see how the first alarm is for 3:50 a.m. and then there's 3:51, 3:52, 3:53 a.m. And then he just puts all these on. And man, yo, dude, that is absolutely insane. Okay, waking up at 3:50 a.m. I'm pretty sure this guy is actually a business owner or something like that, right? So he doesn't seem to be someone who has like a regular 9 to 5 job, But again, man, 3:50 a.m. dog, that is insane, dude. Man, I don't understand. Like with these kinds of influencers, I do understand that, they do show off their morning routine and stuff like that. Because, well, I mean, take a look at Ashton Hall, dude. His whole thing is his routine, right? That is what really made this guy famous. So there is that. But again, man, I mean, 3:50 a.m., like, is there really any like genuine like functional benefit for waking up that early? Like, I don't know. I just feel like if I were to adopt this, schedule, then I'd just end up being really, really tired in the middle of the day. So in terms of productivity, I don't know how it really helps. Like, it's not like you're magically getting more hours, right? Like, your body is still gonna get tired, it's still gonna get sleepy. So in that sense, you're still gonna have that issue. But I suppose maybe it's because like waking up that early means that you'll have the ability to like focus on work without very many distractions, because like other people are still going to be asleep, and the world isn't really moving at that point, right? Everyone else is asleep and everything is closed and stuff. Nothing's really happening. So I suppose like the solitude kind of aspect of it, that thing really helps perhaps. But man, personally, couldn't be me. And that's why I'm not Ashton Hall, guys. That is why I am not as famous as Ashton Hall, man. Dude, I think recently I saw he got like 17 million followers on like Instagram. Dude, like it was insane, man. That morning routine video, dude, I think he really went into the mainstream after that. But yeah, man, anyway, overall, man, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty funny reel. He knew exactly what he was doing with this, okay? I liked it, okay? W reel, okay? And then another thing you'll notice is how throughout this reel, you'll see how there's that timestamp, right? So there's the number, the time, and then, PM next to it. And so it shows you what he's doing and then what time of the day it is. So, this is the same format as that thing where, he went viral, which was his like viral morning routine, which was something that everybody saw on the internet. So, he's using the same format here too. So I do think that's pretty interesting. It's like his signature thing pretty much. You see a video like this and it's like very iconic to Ashton Hall, So I am glad that, he's aware of this. And he's keeping it, he's going with this theme. So yeah, that is pretty cool, it's very like on brand for Ashton Hall. But anyway, guys, those were just my thoughts on the situation. And now I'd like to hear what you think down in the comments below. So leave a comment and we can have a discussion down there. And with all that being said, guys, this is Alexi signing out.